So now that you've finally completed your business model, it's time to get out there and share it with the world. You've already involved all the key stakeholders from the start in terms of co-creating the solution. But now it's time to get external stakeholders involved in terms of funders and other forms of potential supporters. So this is when you can use the structure that has been provided in the social entrepreneurship framework to put it all down in a slide deck and a business plan. This is something very simple, and you've already done the work. You have the content. It's just a matter of structuring it. So what I usually recommend for a slide deck is 10 slides. The first one is a cover slide. The second one starts with the problem, telling a story, having an impactful statistic to share, and having a person to represent all those numbers. Then the opportunity. What is the opportunity that you've identified that can tackle this challenge? And then describing your solution on the fourth slide. Then you present your vision, mission, theory of change, and target audience, and move on to your team. And then you can share your revenue and business model, your impact metrics, and your plans for growth, ending on the 10th slide with an ask. What do you want from the audience, and how can they help you? You can also take this 10-slide deck and turn it into a business plan by just typing out the narrative. Business plans don't need to be long, hefty, complicated things. It can literally be a 10 or 20-page Word doc that just tells the story and presents the information that you've put all this hard work into putting together. Now, don't forget, this is a living, breathing document, and it's always going to change. It's just think of it, for example, like a roadmap. You can still go off-roading, but it's nice to at least set out with a map in your hands. And then as new data and evidence comes your way, you'll take that into consideration and be nimble and flexible. So what do you do once you have your slide deck and your business plan? Well, you put on your best suit and you hit the pavement. You get out there, you do informational interviews. This means identifying people who work in this field or finance this field who might be able to help you. I have a really cool formula for getting informational interviews, which is to just send a 3-line sentence with request for informational interview in the subject, saying who you are, why you're interested in them, and why you're hoping you can talk to them, and then ending with, if your schedule allows, I would be grateful for 20 minutes of your time. It usually works for me. Another way is to go to conferences that talk about the subject matter at hand, and networking events for entrepreneurs. And once you're there, there's basic networking tips. I won't go through everything here, but put your name tag on the right, have a firm handshake, smile, make eye contact. Don't try to multitask, but really focus on the person. And whether you're speaking to one person or many people, it's always very important to be present, to keep body language at a minimum, really face them full front. Don't do too many hand gestures, which I know I'm guilty of doing a lot, but we don't want lots of Kung Fu Panda. Just keep it about the subject, about the people, and not about you. And make sure that you're engaging them in your story. The first step to doing that is to finding out their story and what their interests are. So before you request a meeting with someone, make sure to do your homework in terms of what their mission is and how it might align with yours. So another thing that you can do at this stage is start putting together an advisory board. Now, this is a group of volunteers who are experts in the field who can join your organization. And you might already have started to get an idea of who these people might be from your work engaging with stakeholders. It's helpful to have an advisory board because it gives you validity in terms of these people believe in my mission and in my product or service, and they're helping me achieve it. It also takes a lot of time to manage, so that's something that you should keep in mind. And this is different from a board of directors, which we'll talk about later. But there's so many other forms of support that you can gather around you, including coaches and mentors. These can often be found at networking events and at incubators and accelerators and co-working spaces, which are basically groups of people and places that have been formed on purpose to create an innovation ecosystem. And what this means is that people like to see entrepreneurs tackling challenges, and they create shared working spaces and they create funds to support them. And oftentimes these two go together, where you can apply to be part of a class of entrepreneurs that are building their solution in the same space, exchanging ideas, exchanging resources, And sometimes this might come with financial opportunities, such as seed funding in exchange for some equity in your organization. So look out for these opportunities around you, and look out for university events like conferences and contests where you might be able to win awards for your idea that could also help with seed funding. There are often also networks of angel investors and others who support entrepreneurs, and these are very easy to find in different places. I've seen them literally in cities around the world, in places that you would never imagine. So when you get engaged in this, I'll leave you with this piece of advice, which is to not get caught up in the buzz. A lot of times there's more noise than action when it comes to the innovation ecosystem. And you want to make sure that you keep it about the people you're doing this for and with, and the challenge that you're tackling. And it's not about you. That links a lot to selling it. So watch out about humility. This work is humbling, and a social entrepreneur should be humble. At the same time, you shouldn't be afraid to sell your idea. You're not only selling yourself, but you're selling your idea in terms of, without any arrogance, with all humility. You need to rally people behind you to believe that this idea needs to be done, and that you should be this person doing it, and that they should be paying you. Now, a little bit of advice for introverts. I know that not everyone wants to go out there and shake people's hands and talk to them. It's okay. Communication, pitching, and networking skills are things that can be learned. You can even join a Toastmasters or one of those types of things. You can really hone those skills, and then you can just plan to have the time that you need to reflect and readjust and regain your energy before and after. But stay focused on your idea. This helps me a lot. I'm an introvert that presents as an extrovert. Nobody believes me that I'm an introvert. But when I think about the idea and the inspiration, that gives me energy. So I hope that these tips have helped you in terms of thinking about putting together your slide deck and your business plan and getting out there and rallying the world to support you. Next, we're going to talk about the specifics of funding and financing your venture.